Hello, everybody. This is Kelly Kleiman, and you are listening to the DealershipNews.com podcast, where we spotlight the who's happening in the automotive industry. It's foot soldiers, visionaries, salesmen, GMs, owners, service managers, and industry vendors alike. Our guest today is actually on the insurance end of things. He is the president of Florida One Insurance, a fast-growing operation out of beautiful Florida. His name is David Rodriguez. Welcome, David.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Kelly. It's a pleasure and honor to be here with you today.
Well, it's great to be talking with you because it's an end of the business that we don't often visit with, but here we are. I want to know how you got into the auto insurance business to begin with. Was it just happenstance, or did it resonate with you as a solid business to develop in, and there you were?
Sure. I'll give you a little bit of background on me. So I was very fortunate to be introduced into the insurance industry at an early age, almost right out of high school, I would say, when a local insurance carrier had immediate openings for their claims department. There I learned a lot of the basic principles that I still apply in my business today, one of them being that the majority of the consumers out there have little to no understanding as to what coverages they purchase. So in our agency, information is key. While still working in the claims department, I decided to go for my agent's license and went to work at a local dealership in their insurance verification department, a fairly new concept where a licensed agent would verify the customer's current policy and determine if the insurance was active and will cover the customer's new vehicle. Immediately, I understood there was a business here, and since most people consider the cost of insurance when looking to purchase a new vehicle. So after a few years, my partners and I decided to open up Florida One Insurance, and like every great company, we have our own story. So we started with $100 and a dream and a vision to open up Florida One Insurance, and now, fast forward a few years later, we're very proud to say that we employed over 75 employees and have over 30 locations in the state. So we're very proud of that.
That is some serious growth, but I've never heard, and boy, I tell you, I don't want to sound like a newbie, but I've never heard of an insurance verification department. Isn't that just handled with F&I?
It typically is. I mean, some of the dealers still do it that way, but the problem is, like with every dealership, when you're going through the purchase of a new vehicle, there's many transactions that take place. First, you got to show the vehicle, then you have to go ahead and worry about the finance, then the delivery of the vehicle. So sometimes insurance is overseen, and it's where it opens up the dealership for liabilities. The in-house insurance agency is a new concept that's working great for other local dealerships where we're just happen to be an additional set of eyes for the dealer. So we make sure that we have a licensed agent that can talk about what recommendations, what kind of deductibles the insurer could look into if he's conservative on the price of the insurance. That is something that a licensed agent could do, and not just a salesperson at the dealership or the F&I.
That's a great idea. I think it's outstanding. You have my support on that one. Sounds like it's pretty viable. I tell you what, that's really interesting to me. So let's talk about your target market there in Florida. Obviously, you're a growing agency. Is your client base basically folks looking for simple liability, or much more comprehensive coverage?
Okay. While I'm known as a dealer agent, quote unquote, my agency offers we have many departments that offer our clients different insurance for all their needs. So from their auto to their home, to their business, to their life and health. We always tell our members that if it's insurance related, please think of us.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into the concept of marketing to car dealerships in your general area, or let's just say Florida in general. What is that process? How are you approaching them? What does the checklist look like? How do you sell to a dealership to become their kind of go-to guy?
Sure. I focus all on the benefits. When we approach a new dealership, we always go ahead and mention to them all the benefits that come in when having an in-house agency. We talk to them that we're there to help them deliver their vehicles. In that process, we're there to sell policies. When you focus on the potential risk that the customers and the dealership face, we find that the dealerships are very open-minded to this new concept of having an in-house agency. Most dealerships, they don't consider that when you are leaving that responsibility for a salesperson or an F&I person to go ahead and make sure that the vehicle is properly added to the customer's policy. They don't understand that if that's not done on the spot, it can leave the dealership with a lot of liability on their hands because of this.
Is there some kind of participation with the dealership in the profit of it, as opposed to just ameliorating any kind of risk?
No, what we do is just we go in basically just helping the dealership reduce the liability of them releasing a vehicle out to the road without the proper insurance.
All right, that makes sense. I was just wondering if you get any pushback from the dealers, like, what's in it for us other than risk amelioration? But that's pretty big right there, isn't it? You don't want to get sued. But
it typically is, most dealers that we work with, they either had an issue or before where they might have forgotten to add a vehicle to a current customer policy. And most of us don't know this unless we're in the car business, that you deliver a vehicle today and on the way home, there could be a total loss.
Yeah, I always thought that there was a certain grace period, but maybe not.
It all depends, depending on the insurance companies. A lot of companies don't allow, some of them give you up to 14 days, and
Yeah.
some of them may do up to 30 days. It all depends on the insurance company. I always tell the dealers, just to be safe, get the binder. Not only it helps you protect your liabilities, but also gets you a deal funded quicker.
And if anything, it guides that particular buyer into insurance right away. They have to pretty much
Sure.
either buy it or make sure that it's handled right there and then on the spot. Makes sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. So I have to say this. I noticed that you guys get amazing reviews. It's not easy to get reviews when you're in anything to do with automotive, let alone insurance. Is that a result of great business acumen or reputation management software, or a little of both? Because you seem to be handling it really well.
Oh, thank you so much for that. It's actually one of the things that we're most proud of. Reviews, pictures, and video is something that we as a company started to do a few years back, when we realized that if we wanted to be in business in the future, we will have to start preparing for it today. So reviews nowadays is where we turn to for recommendations. We use it for almost every single decision that we make in a day, whether it's from eating to car buying to buying insurance. When it comes to reviews, we look for, it's like our neighborly advice. So we just made it a part of our culture. We simply stress the importance of the review, not only as a way for my agents to let us know that we're doing a great job, but also let our potential future customers know. So my advice to any business that may be having problems with reviews is just simply over deliver and ask for the review all the time. So most companies, I believe, that have an issue with getting and earning reviews is because they fail to over deliver. So I was training one of my new employees the other day, and I picked up a call next to her, and I said, okay, so it was a customer that was calling in for a proof of insurance. I think she was getting her tag renewed, and she needed for us to fax in the proof of insurance. Not only did I fax over the proof of insurance, but I also texted her a copy and emailed to her. I over-delivered on the request that she had, and by the end of the call, she was eager to give us a review. So, as long as you over-deliver, you're going to get a review every single time.
People consider Yelp extortionists. You don't need to be extorted by Yelp to get good reviews. If you're a good businessman, good reviews just self-generate. So congrats on that one.
Sure.
Now, the next question.
Thank you so much.
You bet, man. It's amazing to see, actually. I rarely see fives. With as many reviews as you have. There was some volume there, if I recall. I'm going to.
Right now we have over 4,000 reviews, and they're a 5-star. We're a 5-star rated agency with 4,000 reviews.
Yeah, it's very rare. Usually people default to reputation management software, but whether you do or not, it's still a review. And I'll tell you what, 5-star all day long. It's not going to hurt you, that's for sure. Hey, I'm going to ask you a question, and this is completely self-serving because I've got 2 of these. They're called 16-year-olds, and they are going to be driving here very soon. They'll be getting their driver's license, I would say probably within the next couple months, at the very latest, in fact. What can I expect my rates to be on a used car, say, with 100,000 miles on it? Or how does that work with someone who's maybe a higher risk driver? Obviously, I'm not going to buy them their own car, but if I insure them on mine, what can a 16-year-old with no driving record expect to see? What could the parent expect to see, I should say, to pay?
Sure. Well, we all been there at some point or another, right? So let's remember the insurance rates are determined based on the risk factor. while some teenagers in reality may be better drivers than some of us, there's still a risk that remains to be proven. So we, and as an agency, we look at new drivers as a new risk that needs information. So we, going back to the 60-year-old, here's the recommendation that we give every single parent or any type of young driver is to plan ahead. The first thing that I recommend is that if you're planning on having a teenager in the household that is going to be driving soon, is to go ahead and get their learner's permit. So most companies won't surcharge the policy for a learner's permit, but when they get the driver's license, you can go ahead and get a policy for them, and they would already have the prior policy discount, which in some cases could be up to 30%. So I would recommend to plan ahead and be able to save big there.
Back up a second. I think I caught most of that. So you're saying,
sure,
I can get my kids on my policy before they actually have their license?
Yes. So if you have a learner's permit, right?
They have the learner's permit.
While they're learning, that usually takes about a year or so while they're getting the learner's permit until they transition over to the license. That time period, if you add them to your policy, depending on the company that you may have, you won't get an increase on your policy because they know that they're going to be monitored by the parents. So when they go ahead and they finally decide to go on the license, and this, I just had a couple that I work with where one of their kids had a learner's permit for 3 years. So by the time that he went ahead and decided to finally go ahead and get a full driver's license, he had already had prior for 3 years. So we got the son a policy on his own with a 3-year prior discount policy. So he was able to save huge on that policy.
Oh, that's interesting. That's something that very few people are aware of, probably. Let's get back into how you're marketing the agency. That was just a self-serving question, but I'm sure there's a lot of us out there who would love to know that. How do you market the agency? Do you do it through digital advertising, social media, radio, print, or is it basically word of mouth and good customers who love you?
Sure. We do basically strictly digital and word of mouth. So we use our cell phones to go with us everywhere. Our cell phones nowadays are our computers, our TVs, our alarm. What don't these things do nowadays? And with all the free mediums, we no longer need costly marketing campaigns. So while we do some paid advertisement, is the majority of the marketing that we do has zero to no cost. We do things from free groups on Facebook to reaching out to contacts on LinkedIn. There's just so many ways to make an impact and get your name out there that requires zero to no cost.
Yeah, that is true. Well, how do you see the business evolving when autonomous cars start to proliferate? What's that? Have you ever thought of that? Have you looked into the future with your crystal ball and said, this is going to be interesting?
Every time we have an insurance conference, we always talk about this. And while I still feel that has years to come, I think the insurance business will be fine as long as we remember that we are a service-driven industry. Customers like to speak to an agent about the potential risk rather than going online and deciding for themselves what coverages may best fit their needs. This is why we're now seeing some of the big players of online insurance opening local offices. So, people still like to go to their agent and explain to them and let the agent kind of figure out for them what would be the best case scenario for covering the risk. So I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, because if there's less drivers out on the road, less risk, it's probably going to be a different kind of insurance. But I guess I'll let the geniuses figure that one out. It's always been interesting to me. In your market, tell me about the competition and how do you set yourself apart from them?
Well, insurance, in my opinion, is one of the most competitive business, especially here in Florida, because everywhere that you stop, there's basically an insurance agency there. So there's many ways to set yourself apart. In our case, we try to put our customers first. And try not to focus on premium, but on which company fits best the customer's current needs and situation. And as the customer grows, we grow with them. So there's very difference from a young driver to now a family man or woman that has new risks to worry about. So we take the time to actually learn a lot about our customers and to try to make sure that we grow with them as they grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's there's a lot of insurance everywhere. It's almost like over here in Los Angeles, it's almost like Starbucks. But you know what?
Same here.
You know, right? There's coffee cafes that serve lousy coffee, and there's coffee cafes that serve great coffee. There's really good insurance providers, and there's really not so good insurance providers. But folks, we were just talking to a really good insurance provider, and his name is David Gonzalez. The company, well, you should know it because it's going to be coming to a state near you. For right now, it's just called Florida One Insurance. And Dave, I want to thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
It gave me some insight and some really interesting stuff, and we should talk a little bit more. We'll go ahead and get this podcast up. Stay on the line, David. The rest of you, feel free to break. It is a Wednesday. It's hump day. This is Kelly Kleinman. That was the DealershipNews.com podcast for today. Have a good day. We'll see you soon.